Wonderful it is that we are all here together today. Feel free to sing along, snap, clap along. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Page 4. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yananai, nai, 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 nai. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yananai, nai, 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 nai. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, to our folks who are at our outdoor terrace chapel, our Schiffer Terrace Chapel, let's hear it. Shabbat Shalom, nice and loud. Awesome.
Yeah.
And for those who are joining us on Zoom or Facebook Live or YouTube, we wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and go ahead and say something to the camera. Be that person, speak to the camera, say Shabbat Shalom. Couple introductions here. Cantor Lauren Nadesnik. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Behind the cameras, we have Mark Feinberg. In the back, we have our executive director here at Temple Emanu-El, Stephen Blick. Of course, you must know the Bryman family, specifically Sylvia, who is our bat mitzvah for this afternoon. Sylvia, it is a wonderful day to have a service, to be with your people, to be with your family, to lead, to raise us up, and to bring us to the place where we know we can be. This is special for many reasons. One, of course, is we're here outside. We are initiating this space to a bat mitzvah, to a bar mitzvah. And forever, Sylvia, you'll be able to say, I was the first. I was the first one to have it, which is a really, really big deal. But it's a big deal for other reasons as well. Having nothing to do with this space per se. It's a big deal because you are coming of age. This is our Jewish coming of age ceremony, by which over the next 90 minutes, you go from being a Jewish girl to being a Jewish woman in the eyes of your Jewish community. And this is a tradition that goes back hundreds and perhaps even thousands of years. What qualifies you to do this is to lead us in prayer, to chant from the Torah in the original, right? To give a Devar Torah, a speech interpreting Torah, and in doing so, connecting us to something bigger than ourselves, okay? There is no perfect in this, right? We need you to stand up or sit down. We'll ask you to. The real benchmark for success is not do you do something perfectly or not. It's whether you can connect and help us all to connect to something higher in these 90 minutes. To our ancestors, to the Torah text itself, to our neshama, our soul, to the divine, to God. And for sure you will, because I already feel like we are there. So friends who are here, we're going to use this red Siddur. We'll call out the page numbers. On the right, you will see the Hebrew. On the left, you'll see the English. And in the middle, the transliteration. For those who are joining us online, the service has been pinned onto the Facebook page. How good it is to be together. Let's see those claps and snaps. Give Sylvia our energy. Page 4, Hine ma tov.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yananai, nai, 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 nai. What's this energy? Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yananai, nai, 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 nai.
Here we go.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
So Sylvia, on this journey, this rite of passage into Jewish adulthood, there are some signposts, some benchmarks along the way. The first of which is your tallis. Tallis is your piece of adult Jewish clothing. And according to our tradition, last year, last month, last week, yesterday, even this morning, you weren't allowed to publicly wear it. You could do it privately, but not publicly wear your tallis because you were still a kid. Now, as we transition you into Jewish womanhood, you are going to receive your tallis, your piece of adult Jewish clothing, which you will publicly wear, and presenting you with your tallis are your parents, Holly and Glenn. So will the three of you go on up? And you'll take out the tallis. Okay, and then Holly and Glenn, you're going to read on page 5.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth.
As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May this simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence.
As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Okay, now Sylvia, you're going to recite the blessing for the tallis.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzi.
We all say amen.
Amen.
Okay, now Mom and Dad, you're going to drape the tallis over Sylvia. There you go, and fix her hair. Now, if you remember, this is a touchy-feely service. Anytime it is remotely appropriate to hug and to kiss her, do it. Go ahead. There you go. All right. So, friends, we all know, and actually, Hannah, I'm going to ask you to join them for this part right here. We all know that family and community come together for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes sad. This one, super, super happy. Super, super happy. So Brahmins, arms around each other as we sing our Shehechianu prayer. Literally, thank you for this moment in time, God, that we're here, we're breathing, we're together. May we have this type of simcha, this type of holiness again and again and again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu hazman hazeh. Amen.
Okay, and Hannah, we can have you have a seat, and Sophia, you're going to lead us on page 6.
Mom and Dad, you can hang right up there if you like.
God be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness, inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Okay, very good. Sylvia, on page 13, you're going to read us in this prayer responsively. And what that means is when we see italics, gang, when we see italics, that means we all join in.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it
May
welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out the pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We are warmed up. We are going to start with the Baruch Hu on page 15. Please rise, everyone. Page 15.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Vaed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Vaed. Sylvia, in a moment, you'll lead us in our Ma'ariv Aravim prayer, which you'll find, friends, on your inside cover. Ma'ariv Aravim is our evening prayer. And as the sun begins to set and the moon begins to rise at our outdoor chapel, we can hear the sound of the birds beginning their evening rituals. The Jewish day, Sylvia, starts at night. And what this prayer does is it shows us, it reminds us that each night anew, each day anew, we have the chance to renew ourselves and our environment around us. We have the chance to recreate who we are, our family dynamics, the tshuva we might do, our place in the world. We are not locked in to yesterday or yesterday's yesterday. We have a chance to be once more again. Sylvia, will you lead us with Ma'ariv Aravim?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Bechokma poteach sha'arim, uvit vuna meshaneh itim. Umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim. B'mishmerotechem berakia kirtsono. Berei yom v'layla galel or mipnei choshech. Bechoshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umavi laila. Umavdil bein yom uvein laila. Adonai Tzevaot Shemo El Chai B'kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Amen. Amen. And Sylvia, you'll be leading us on page 16 with Ahava Rabbah in a moment. This prayer is about God's abundant love for us. Here you are surrounded by the people who love you. For us, when our kids, Marita and I, when our kids were little, at night, we would sing to them this little song about everybody who loved them. Went like this: Mama loves you, Daddy loves you, Grandpa loves you, Grandpa too. And this, and then we go on. It could go on for a very long time. Teachers, friends. If we were to sing the song to you now, and we won't, but if we were, you would have everybody in here in your song of all the people who love you and who care about you. And somewhere in that song, whether it's first, in the middle, last, somewhere in that song is God. That God is amongst those who love you abundantly to infinity and beyond. Will you lead us with Ahava Rabbah on page 16?
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Vitera Hamolta Aleinu Ba'avor Avotenu Ve'imotenu Shabbatchu Vecha Vatlam Dame Huke Chaim Kain Techonenu Utlamdenu Ham Rachem Aleinu Vetain Belibenu Lahavin Ul Haskil Lishmoa Lilmod Ulelamed Lishmor Asot Ulkaim et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha Be'achava Baruch Atah Adonai Haboher Be'amo Yisrael Be'ahava.
Amen. So we're all going to feel our feet on the floor. Take a nice deep breath, getting ready for our Shema. Page 18.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Everyone may be seated. So in a moment, you'll lead us in Via Hafta on page 18. So just estimate for me, how many times do you think you've said the Via Hafta prayer? More than 2?
Yes.
More than 100?
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. More than 100. And just between all the times you've said it at religious school and has been practicing, and you said this prayer many, many times. The Via Hafta is part 2 of the Shema. They're part of the same prayer. And the Via Hafta, if you look at the translation, so what it says and what it means, is a prayer that is a reminder of that we have reminders. A reminder that we have reminders, which is sort of a weird thing to say. A reminder of what?
That we have reminders.
That we have reminders, yes, very good. And that we are able to be in any moment more than we are. So the questions that are asked in here is, when is it that we are supposed to have God on our mind? When is it that we're supposed to do the right thing? When are we supposed to lead with the very best of our Jewish self? And the answers that are given in this prayer are, well, when you sit down and when you stand up or when you're traveling on the way. In other words, always, which seems like a good answer until you think about it, right? How can you do something mindfully always? It's very hard to do. So we have reminders like your talis, like your mezuzah, like the Judaica in your home, like your Jewish community, right? Things that will remind you that you have a sense of meaning and purpose that is very intimate to you, but goes way beyond you as well, that you are part of something big, something eternal. This chance to take the world from where it is and move it to where it needs to be. Tikkun Olam, in partnership with God. All of this with the Via Hafta prayer, which you've said hundreds of times, a reminder that we have reminders that we can be all that. Will you lead us in our Via Hafta prayer, please, on page 18?
Via Hafta
Et Adonai Elohecha
B'chol levavecha
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם Veshivtecha b'beitecha, ulechtecha b'derech, ushachbecha v'kumecha, ushartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'einecha, uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tizkeru, v'asitem ekol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
I'd like to invite up Betty Bryman to lead us in our reading on page 19. Right over to the mic.
Okay. Where am I reading from?
Page 19.
Okay.
So you're going to read the non-italicized part, and we're going to read the italicized part.
Okay. Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song to you. And still today, we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Our evening Micha Mocha back inside cover.
We'll sing that one more time. Let's do claps like this. Nora Tehilot, Oshe Felet, Nora Tehilot, Oshe Felet. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Adonai Imo Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai Imo Le'olam Va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Sur Yisrael.
Please rise.
Kuma Bezrat Yisrael. Ufidechenu umecha Yehuda veYisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo. Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai. Ga'al Yisrael.
We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. And we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. This struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, of transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. Sylvia, will you lead us in our Amidah on page 21?
Adonai,
Sifatai tiftaf, ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah,
Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Hasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevig Geulah Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Mashiach haruach u'morid ha'gashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umechayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidol melach, Melech mimit umechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
I'd like to invite up Myra Berger to lead us in our responsive prayer on page 23.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Kedusha, page 24.
Nekadesh Shimcha ba'olam, Geshem shemakdishim oto b'shmim arom, Kakatuv hayad nevi'echa, V'kara zel zeh ve'amar,
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz, Kevodo.
Adir adirenu Adonai Adonenu, Madir shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu v'hu Yashmienu, v'rachamav le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem,
Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, Ledor vador. Hallelujah.
Repeat after me. Lidor vador.
Ledor vador.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagiga lecha.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagiga lecha.
Ulenetzach netzachim, Kedushatecha nakdish, Kedushatecha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu, Yidenu lo yamush, le'olam va'ed. Here comes your part. Lidor vador.
Ledor vador.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagiga lecha.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador.
Lidor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagiga lecha.
Ki HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. Ki HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. Baruch Atah
Baruch
Adonai,
Shemo.
El HaKadosh.
Amen. Everyone could be seated. Sylvia, will you lead us on page 25 responsively?
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. We're getting ready for our Yismachu prayer on page 26. This prayer is about joy and gratitude. So for anybody who is joining us online, you're welcome to type in what is it that you are grateful for this week, joyful for. And of course, to our bar and bat mitzvah students who are here for credit, this is where you tell us who you are and what you're grateful for so we can know that you are here at our service. Page 26, Yismachu.
Yismachu
Malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei, Onei Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei, Onei Shabbat.
Again,
Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei, Onei Shabbat. Yismechu, Malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei, Onei Shabbat. I'd like to invite up David and Paula Bryman to lead us in our prayer on page 27, our responsive prayer.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand before our eyes, and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. I'd like to invite up Elise and Drew Bryman to lead us on page 28 as we prepare to pray for peace.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with the peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Page 28, Sim Shalom.
Sim, 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 shalom,
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
sim, shalom,
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. This is the place in our service where we invite people to have a moment of silence for your silent communion, conversation, meditation, prayer. We who are here at our Schiffer Family Terrace outside have an opportunity to have this silence and listen to nature around us in the midst of this sacred ritual. Let's take a moment and listen.
Page 30. May the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai. May we feel your presence surrounding us in this glorious nature. Imrefi, Imrefi, Vehegyon libi, Lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, V'goali, V'goali.
Holly and Glenn, on page 31, you've got the parents' blessing. These words are jewels from different places in the Talmud. And our sages of old, these great, great rabbis, were not just great rabbis, they were parents. And so here we have the intentions of these truly connected people to the divine, talking about what it's like, their wishes for their children, their sons and daughters. So would you share these words, this blessing, with your daughter on the occasion of her bat mitzvah?
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Yeah. Beautiful. The emotion is here. It is here for everybody. All right, friends, let's rise for our Torah service on page 32.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Alrighty, so this is the moment, Miss Sylvia. We talked about this Eitz Chaim that's on your Atara, and we talked about. I said it's kind of following you around all day today. Because we've been talking about this Eitz Chaim for a couple of weeks now, right? And what was it that we said this object, there's an object that we call an Eitz Chaim, a tree of life. Do you remember what it is? You're looking at it. It's got a blue cover.
The Torah.
The Torah. That's right. Yes, you got it. Beautiful. And so, Sylvia, we are getting ready to pass Torah into your arms, this tree of life that we hope will continue to sustain you, that you will continue to sustain it, and that you will bring that life, that light, more encompassing, embracing into your life, and that you will bring it to your children many years from now. So at this time, we're going to ask Dad to pick it up. And as Dad is picking up the Torah, of course, we know that the door of a door, Torah has come to us just as it is coming to you, and as you will bring it to your children, your children's children, through the generations of our ancestors. And so with us right here, we've got your grandmothers, we've got Betty Bryman, and we've got Rose Haugerud smiling at you, beaming at you from our congregation, and of course, watching from afar. We know that your grandfathers are sending their love to you and wrapping you with their love. Lester Bryman and Michael Haugerud. And of course, then we have their parents and their parents' parents and their parents' parents, all the way back to Bereshit, the beginning of the Torah, to Adam and Eve, filling up the sacred space. Pretty incredible. So if you are ready to receive the Torah, I see a nod. Mom's going to give it a little kiss and touch. And Dad is going to place it in your arms. Beautiful. Very good. We're not going to let it go. No worries. It's heavy, right? Yeah. Okay. So we continue together with our Shema on the top of page 33. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Unerom B'ma, Shemo Yachdav. And now the Bryman family can undress the Torah. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, v'Hagivura, v'Hatiferet, v'Hanetzach, v'Hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, lecha Adonai hamelacha, v'hamitnaseh l'kol rosh.
We could have everyone be seated. So Sylvia is going to be chanting from Pikudei, Vayekel Pikudei, which is a double portion in Exodus, and one word for the general and one word for the specifics. The general piece is, no matter how many times you have seen this done or how many people you know who have done this, chanting Torah in the original, it's hard. It takes serious study, learning a whole nother language, having to learn how to read it without vowels, without cantillation, without musical notes in the original. It takes a lot. I mean, literally years you've been working to be able to do this. So it is hard. And this is part of the rite of passage that you're able to do this publicly, Sylvia. So we thank you for that, lifting your voice and adding it to the myriad of Jewish voices that have come before you. The specifics of Vayekel, we find ourselves, the Jewish people, in the desert, having left Egypt and heading towards Canaan, Israel. And we don't quite know who we are. We have been slaves for 400 years. We're no longer slaves, but we're unshackled, but we don't know what it means to be free. Your Torah portion is part of the process of us figuring out who we are in this sort of liminal in-between time. It has been said that your Torah portion is about the adolescence of our people, the teenagehood of our people, knowing where we're coming from, having an idea of where we're going, but not quite there, and trying to figure out what it means to be part of something bigger, what it means to have a sense of self, what it means to be in relationship with God, and moving towards our very greatest potential with mistakes along the way. Mistakes happen, second chances are granted, and third chances, and fourth chances. This is your Torah portion, Sylvia, is about becoming. So friends, our blessings before and after are on page 34, and we get ready to welcome Sylvia into this adult covenant.
So we're going to ask Mom and Dad to help Sylvia unroll the scrolls so that she can find that lovely yellow arrow that is pointing to her line and that second word in that line. And then it is my pleasure to call Hannah, older sister Hannah, who I cannot believe we bat mitzvahed here just 3 years ago at this point, 2 or 3 years ago. Hannah is going to have the honor of chanting our first bracha. Ta'amod Ashira Nacham Bat Yaakov Fivish La'aliyah Torah. Go ahead and make the blessing.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. All right, Sylvia.
Amen. Vayakel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem Eleh hadevarim asher tziva Adonai la'asot otam sheshet yamim te'aseh melacha uvayom hashevi'i yehiyeh lachem Kodesh Shabbaton Ladonai. Kol
ha'oseh
Kol ha'oseh vo
milacha
melacha yumat. Lo teba'aru esh bechol moshevotechem
beyom
beyom ha'shabbat.
Yasher koach. Leave the yod right where you finished. And as you do that, Hannah's going to pick up that microphone in the blessing whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betohenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Hannah, you can give Sylvia a big hug and a kiss. Beautiful. And for the honor of our second Aliyah, we call up to our bima, our microphone right up here, Betty Bryman and Myra Berger. Ta'amdu Elisheva mincha bat Nachman la'aliyah laTorah.
So you're going to look into the mic. Yep.
Okay. You start up here. Baruch
Baruch
et Adonai Hamvarach.
Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Olam Va'ed.
Baruch.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher basher banu mikol ha'amin v'tenatan lanu et Torah too. Baruch Adonai noten Torah.
Amen.
Word.
Yasher koach. Stay right there. And Sylvia, you are going to chant your second Aliyah.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe el kol adat b'nei Israel lemor zeh hadabar asher tiva Adonai la'asot
Lemor. Kehu.
Kehu meidechem teruma la'Adonai kol nediv livo Yaviecha ei teruma Adonai Zechev unachoshav
Utechelet.
Utechelet ve'orgaman ve'torot ve'tolot shani ve'sheish ve'izim.
Yasher koach. Leave that yod right where you ended. And we'll hear the blessing after the Torah from Betty and Myra.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'to shinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Air hugs and kisses. Beautiful. And now it's my pleasure to call your mom and dad to offer the third blessing. Ya'amod Yaakov 5-ish la'aliyah laTorah. Nice and close to your mouth.
Baruch et Adonai Hamevarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. And Sylvia, when you're ready, you're going to chant for us your third Aliyah.
Amen. Ve'orot elim me'odamim. Ve'orot techashin ba'atzei shitim. Ve'shemen lamaor. Uvesamim l'shemen hamishcha. Ve'liktorat hasamim. Ve'avnei shochom. Ve'avnei miluim. La ephod. Ve'lachoshet.
Beautiful. Leave the yod right there where you finished. And Dad is going to help us with that blessing after. And hold that microphone nice and
Baruch
close.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'kaye olam nata betuchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. All right, Mom and Dad, big hugs and kisses for Sylvia. Beautiful. So Sylvia, this is the part where you're going to sit down for just a moment. Don't worry, Mom and Dad have an eye on the Torah and the Yod. They've got it. And you're going to look right at me. So, my dear, you've been working towards this moment for quite some time, right? Not just the past 6 months, not even just the past years you've been in religious school, but really you've been moving towards this moment since you have been born. And so in a moment, we're going to call you up for an Aliyah HaTorah, Aliyat HaTorah. So what does this word Aliyah mean? This word Aliyah means to ascend. And you're going to physically demonstrate that ascending by walking back up to the Torah. But in physically moving up to the Torah, you are moving into, metaphorically speaking, into becoming that bat mitzvah. Once you become a bat mitzvah, you're a bat mitzvah for the whole rest of your life. So you're moving into becoming a young Jewish woman, an active participant in your whole community, school and your Jewish community. And you're also doing something really super unique. You are moving up and you're moving deeper into your Jewish spirituality. And in you doing that and elevating and moving deeper into that, you are elevating every single one of us here, everybody who's watching you, and I would say everybody all over the world, because you are now adding your voice to the Torah, right? We've talked about this. You add your voice to the Torah, and the Torah, it becomes a part of the fabric of who you are as well. So it's my honor to call you up as an official bat mitzvah, so you can walk on over to the Torah. Talmud habachura bat mitzvah. Ayat Delilah bat Yaakov Fivish la'aliyah Torah. And so you're going to make the blessing. Dad's going to hold up that, yep, and the microphone. Beautiful.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. All right. And you'll chant your fourth Aliyah.
Bechol chavcham lev bachem yavo'u ve'ya'asu et kol asher tziva Adonai et hama
Et Hamishkan.
et hamishkan et aholo ve'et michsechu et kerasav ve'et kerashav et brihav et terumat
Amudav.
et
Amudav.
amudav
Ve'adanav.
ve'adanav et ha'aron ve'et badav et hakaporet ve'et parochet chamasach.
Beautiful. In Hebrew, we
Nicely
say
done.
Yafet Me'od. You're going to make the blessing following the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'chayei olam nata b'techenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, with the open Torah, in front of the open Torah, I'm going to ask Mom and Dad to put a hand on Sylvia's shoulder. I'm going to ask everyone to rise. Good job. We are going to give you a special Misha Baruch blessing, Sylvia, for your continued spiritual development. Today and these moments are a spiritual cornerstone for you to look back on and to push off of to go where you're going to go. Do it in Hebrew and English. Misha Baruch Avotenu Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yavarach Et Aya Delilah Bat Yaakov Fivish Shehagia LeMitzvot Allah Ta LeTorah Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yismireha V'Chayeha Lechonen Et Liba Leyot Shalem Im Adonai Eloheha Lagop Torato Lalecha Bidrachav Lishmor Mitzvotav V'Tim Sechen V'Sechel Tov Ve'enei Elohim ve'Adam ve'nomar. Amen.
Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Sylvia, who's come up for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's way, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people, and to that we all say,
Amen.
Okay, we can all be seated. And Glenn and Holly, will you roll up the Torah? And you can put the whipple on it.
The white buckle. There you go.
It's called a whipple. Isn't that funny?
It's a new one.
And you can just lay the dressing right over the top. Okay. All right, wonderful. Okay, Sylvia, don't go anywhere because now you are going to, Mom and Dad can have a seat and you're going to you're going to deliver your Devar Torah. Your Devar Torah is your sermon. So these are the words. I'll just keep talking until you get it out. Don't worry. These are the words that Sylvia has really thought about and put together after studying her Torah portion. And these are essentially her understanding of her Torah portion as it relates to her as an individual and we as a society, both on the now and on the long view of time. So whenever you're ready.
Now make sure you stand right in front of that microphone so we can all hear you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
In this portion, Vayakhel, from the book of Exodus, God instructs Moses to tell the Israelites to build a tabernacle in order to be able to pray outside of Israel. God tells Moses to assign jobs, materials, 2 supervisors, and a work schedule for the people. Moses was a man who could hear God's instructions. God would tell Moses exactly what he wanted the Israelites to do. Once God would tell Moses those instructions, Moses would then transfer the information to the Moses told the people to gather materials of gold, copper, yarn, goat's hair, etc. God instructed Moses to have the people make the tabernacle using less valuable materials on the outside and rarer materials on the inside. The outside of the tabernacle was made of copper, whereas the inside was made of gold and diamonds. Moses was instructed to get everyone to donate half a shekel of silver to build the tabernacle. This way, everyone had skin in the game. That way, the rich could not say, "It's only for us," and the poor could not say, "We don't belong." Eventually, the people donated so much that God told Moses to make them stop. People worked very hard night and day building and spinning yarn, which is why God made a work schedule which included a day of rest. This day is called Shabbat. On Shabbat, the Israelites were not allowed to work on anything. It was so important because it not only provided a day of rest to the people, but it also was a day to thank God for their blessings. The lesson of my Torah portion is about how everyone came together and contributed to the building of the Mishkan. God asked Moses to give the Israelites a project that everyone could work on. The lesson is that everyone can come together and do something good for the world. My modern-day Mishkan would be helping the coronavirus go away. Then once it goes away, everyone will have contributed. Unlike the Israelites who work together, not everyone in the world is cooperating. To stop the spread, we need to unite. We can limit ourselves from hanging out with a lot of people. We can wear a mask and social distance. In my Torah portion, God promises that when everyone contributes and the Mishkan is built perfectly, then our reward will be that God will come and dwell amongst us. In the Torah, this is represented by God's presence in our camp, in our homes, and in our lives. Today, if we achieved the modern Mishkan of defeating the coronavirus, God dwelling amongst us would mean noticing how we all learned how to be considerate of one another. The main reason the virus is not going away is because of selfishness. Imagine what type of society we would live in if people did the opposite. If they were so considerate of others, even people who they did not know, that everyone would wear a mask even though it was inconvenient. That would be an amazing place where coronavirus would not stand a chance. I think that kindness that people can express towards one another is how God might dwell amongst us. Becoming a bat mitzvah means that I am now adult in the Jewish community. As a bat mitzvah, this means that I am now responsible for helping other people in this community. For example, I want to become a madrachim so that I can help kids learn how to speak Hebrew and learn about their Judaism. As an adult, I want to go to Israel so that I can see what it is like in such a historical place. It is an extremely important place just because of what the Jews went through there. I would love to go to Israel and visit every iconic spot like the Dead Sea or the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. I also want to encourage my kids to be Jewish so that they can be welcomed in such a nice community. We will celebrate the Jewish holidays and they will go to Sunday school. As a Jew, I have many values. One of them is giving tzedakah. Giving tzedakah is donating something to our community. It can be as little as a quarter every week that would make a tremendous difference in others' lives. Tzedakah is so important because even though to you aren't donating a large amount, but to the person receiving whatever you give, it could change their life. I couldn't have learned all of this without the people who helped me along the way. First, I want to thank my tutor, Joanne, for helping me learn all of my Torah and being so patient with me throughout it, even when I forgot to practice. Thank you, Cantor and Rabbi, for teaching me Torah. Next, I want to thank my grandparents. Nani, I want to thank you for having so much fun with me while watching Let's Make a Deal and making delicious pancakes in the morning. And I always love our sleepovers and how in the morning I'm greeted with a big hug. Mimi, thank you for making me laugh every time you do with your contagious smile. I always love waking up on Christmas in Panama and walking to the tree with so many presents under it and using a rock as our makeshift menorah. Grams, thank you for being so nice to us when we come visit. We are always greeted with an amazing art project to work on. Gramps, I want to thank you for always making the best food when we come visit you in Florida, and for telling me all your interesting childhood stories. Oh, and taking us fishing in your yard. Grandpa, you might be the toughest person I know. You have so many stories to tell, and I can't wait until I get to see you face to face again. Aunt Myra, thank you so much for having such a good time with me. You put up with me waking you up at 7 a.m, and you always have Jell-O I can make when I come over. Hannah, apparently I'm supposed to thank you. So here it is. Thank you for always being there for me, even if you're mad at me a lot. I know you have my back. Thank you for making me happy when I'm sad and annoyed when I'm happy. Mom, first off, you might be the funniest and most outgoing person I know, and I ever have. There is never a dull moment with you. I love cooking dinner with you while playing music and dancing. I love when we listen to the songs in the radio and change up the words because we don't know what they are. You even make an occasional TikTok with me. I love you. Dad, I don't think I would ever get out of bed if it weren't for you. You were always encouraging me to get up and do something that's good for me. You were the first person to teach me how to play basketball, which I now love playing. I love you. Last, thank you everyone for being here and celebrating this special day with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Well done. I don't think there's a doubt that we just heard from a young woman. Beautiful, Sylvia. Friends, Eitz Chaim, page 39.
Eitz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
So Sylvia, this is where we get to say some nice things about you. So Kinter and I have said it before, and it is worth repeating. And I really am feeling it right now. Of all the things that we get to do as Cantor Rabbi at Temple Emanu-El, including ruckus Friday night services and high holidays and weddings, our most favorite thing is what we've been doing with you the last couple months and right now. And that is getting to know you at a deep level and studying Torah Lishma, study for the sake of higher thought, higher thinking. Our story, yours and mine, really starts with your dad and I, who met on the basketball court at the JCC in the men's league. A lot of Ben Gay and pull hamstrings in that league. And we got to talking afterwards, and your dad and I had some pretty deep conversations over the next couple months. Your mom got involved in the deep conversations. Next thing I know, I'm over at your house, giving you and your sister your Hebrew names. Do you remember doing that?
Yes.
And I think some of the folks who were here were also there for that. I remember somebody in like a Guns N' Roses shirt or something like that. I think I remember that. Oh, yeah, great. And what is so appropriate on a big level is how connected you and your family are to this place. And I am forever going to have it in my mind, Hannah on the couch with 6 other kids in my confirmation class, just crammed in there. And you and your sister here on a regular basis, both as students and teachers, right? Madrachim. And the time that you've spent just being comfortable. Not everybody is as comfortable up there at their bat mitzvah as you are right now with your family. That's a good thing. That means that this is your place. That means that you feel good about this. Behind you on the ark, this outdoor ark, there are some Hebrew words above it. And those Hebrew words are Ma Norah Hamakom Hazeh. And that translates as, how awesome is this place? Those are words that come from Jacob when he has this encounter with God, when he's a teenager and lost, and then becomes found. And our hope is that you will continue to feel just so good and comfortable here, that this place will be a safe second home for you, that you and your sister and your mom and your dad will continue to explore the existential and your higher selves beyond this journey, connect with your Jewish community and the place that you are so comfortable and so welcome, and the joy that you bring is infectious. Keep doing it, Sylvia. We're crazy about you.
Sylvia, I am so proud of you, and I'm beaming at you through my mask. And I've had the pleasure not only to get to work with you just over the last 6 months, but really over the last year and a half, because you've been in my religious school class, just adding so much to our conversation and our learning. And not only have you and I gotten a chance to know each other and learn together, I've gotten a chance to learn with Hannah. And I also got a chance to learn with your dad, who, in preparation for Hannah's bat mitzvah, we worked on those Torah blessings. And so, and I've gotten a chance to get to know your mom. And so I'm just so full of nachas and pride for all of you. And I'm going to use that Eitz Chaim metaphor again, right? So part of what we do as clergy is we get to learn together with our students. And that in itself is creating those roots and branches of the tree of life, right, of the Torah. And then we've really delved into talking about Torah over the past 6 months, learning Torah cantillation together with your classmates. And now it's your turn, and you are so ready for this, my dear. You spoke so beautifully about how you want to become a madricha in our religious school and teach other kids how to read Hebrew, teach other kids about their Judaism. And that is how you are literally passing Torah, creating another branch, another leaf. And so my blessing for you is that as you move through these next months and these next years, remember this tree that is surrounding you right now, not just on your talit, but your family and your friends. And just as you contribute your love, your amazing spirit to them, they will contribute that back to you. And so keep being that teacher, keep being that learner. And I know that you're going to do amazing, amazing things. Mazel tov.
So I will ask everyone to rise as Cantor and I get to impart to you, Sylvia, the priestly benediction. Just stay with us. Priestly benediction, which our spiritual leaders have been imparting to our youth at liminal points like this since the beginning of time as we know it.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face turn towards you, Sylvia, and grant you the greatest gift of all, the ability to build a mishkan right here of kindness and compassion, to do your part to create the society and the world that we want to live in, with your family, your friends, your community, being a leader, bringing your own joy and compassion into it, a sense of wholeness, a sense of completeness, a sense of peace. And we all say,
Amen.
Okay, everyone can be seated unless you are Sylvia's mom and dad. And then you go on up and you are going to share some words with her.
Almost failed. Give Dad.
Sylvia, I know that over this past year, we struggled a bit with all the appointments and learning to become a bat mitzvah, all the excuse me, struggled a bit with the process of preparing to become a bat mitzvah, keeping up with all the due dates and the assignments, but we made it. You made it. And through this past strange year, you handled yourself with such grace and calm. You have an ability to take things in stride and make the best of them. I used to think that perhaps things came a little too easy for you. I worried that you might not know how to overcome adversity. But over the past year and through this process, I realized that things don't come easy to you. It's your loving, giving, and easygoing nature that invites good things into your life. You attract positivity. I'm so proud of you, and I know that these traits will carry you through to a wonderful life. I love you.
I love you. Baby. Oh, you're going to cry.
Oh, no, I'm not. But I do have to put my glasses on. Sylvia was born with a concerned look. My shining star with a furrowed brow. It turns out Sylvia was born with an awareness of the world around her, and with her eyes wide open to all its beauty and humor, and also to its complicated mix of darkness and light. Darling, I hope your mindfulness gives you a sweet oneness with your world. And I pray that you continue to be happy and laugh every day for the rest of your beautiful life. I love you, babe.
Oh, gosh. I can hear. Can I hear that?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought you were crying.
You're okay. No, I can still stand.
Beautiful. All right, friends, we're going to take all this in as we rise for Elenu on page 40.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו
We can be seated. Family, stay right up there. So, Sylvia and family, we're getting ready for our Kadisha Tom, our mourner's Kaddish. And Cantor had spoken about the generations that we believe are here, Sylvia, and smiling, so happy because of who you have become and what you are doing and who your family are to one another. It is a gorgeous testament to what life can be, what you have around you right now. On this day of joy, we utter certain names that are important to your family, and in doing so, it's not macabre. It actually raises up, it elevates the sense of sacredness and kadosh and holiness by bringing their names here. So your family on this particular day especially recalls Nat Freckner, Paul Berger, Aileen Berger, Edith Freckner, and Rick Gardner. For those who are with us either in person or online, who are in the first 30 days of mourning, the Shloshim period of mourning, we'd ask you to rise now. And if you're in the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, we'd ask you to rise now. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise now. And if it is your custom to rise in solidarity, or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask you to do so now, to please rise. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 41. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach yirute, ve'amlich machute. V'chayechon yivomechon, v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. V'galav yizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam ulomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita la, shmei dukutsha, b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram ve'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'imru mav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Ose shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Please rise if you're sitting.
Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Okay, Hannah, you're going to lead your family in a shuffle to your right a couple of steps as you get over to the Havdalah set. Friends, Havdalah is on your supplemental sheet. Havdalah is the separation ritual that we Jews have between Shabbat and Kol the rest of the week. So Glenn, would you light the Havdalah candle? The Havdalah candle, by the way, isn't really a candle. It's a torch. It's made up of 5 or 6, depending on your candle, different wicks, signifying, of course, how individuals in a family can come together, providing much more together than they can apart. And a community can come together, its disparate parts, much stronger as they meld together. Friends, if you'll pick up the Kiddush cup, the Havdalah candle, and the Samim, the spices, we get ready to Havdalah.
Yain line 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 yain line 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 yain line 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 line. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen.
Sylvia, quick sip.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim.
Hannah, take a sniff. Pass it on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh.
Family, feel the heat from the candles with your hands. See the light reflected in your fingertips.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol.
Okay, Glenn, you're going to extinguish the candle into the wine, and with it, Shabbat is over. but we have the rest of our week.
המעבדו בין קודש לכל, חטאותינו ימחול, זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה.
שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב. אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי.
במהרה בימינו יבוא אלינו, עם משיח בן דוד, עם משיח בן דוד.
Here we go. Everybody ready?
Simen tov, mazel tov,
mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Hey lanu, yeh lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yeh lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yeh lanu, ובכל ישראל, hey לנו, ובכל ישראל. Mazel tov, everybody. Shavua tov. Mazel tov. So